stages, this is true. They do have a lot of similarities. But as you advance in the system of Southern Mantis, you go from a Fananjud, from the Phoenix Eye, into a finger strike. And the movements become a lot more mantis-like in appearance in the spiritual aspect of it, because you can see the spirit of the mantis. We don't mimic the mantis as a mimicking of a bug, but we mimic the actual feeling that the mantis has, that sudden power, that shock power, that sudden eating and spitting and sinking and floating. All of those powers are done in the system. The main differences are that Southern Mantis deals with very short power, and it deals with dynamic inch power, and everything is done within the framework of the body, and even the footworks and the movements are within the framework of the body and the natural movement of the body within its normal parameters. We don't do elongated stances, or we don't extend the arms too long. So those are the main differences. The real element of where energy comes from in rooting comes from your spine, comes from the alignment of your spine, and from your mind, the energy and thoughts going through the spine, keeping your energy flowing in that vertical flow. Because what you do is you end up having a vertical flow, which keeps you connected to the ground and the heavens, and you have a horizontal flow that comes from the Dantian and comes from your outer energy. That's really the key. The key is pulling up your pelvis, closing up of your sphincter, bringing your organs back as close as possible to your spine, and developing your spinal energy. That's the key to having rooting. And I prove it in the films that you've taken of me and my students, how you can have a total root, whether standing on the ground or even in the air. And I gave the example of some Korean arts that fly in the air and throw multiple kicks and have power, where they can throw 3 different kicks in the air and still have power. You say, well, how could that be? Because they're using their spinal energy in order to release off of that, rather than using the floor. In the system itself, the system creates itself. It's not just a system of techniques where, well, I'm going to study mantis techniques and then I'll be able to use this. No. The system has a long history, and it comes from the inspiration and the enlightenment from Samdat. Samdat had envisioned something and was given a transmission through the mantis. That transmission goes down the line as we train. These forms have that transmission, and it comes in Hegum, which is done in specific hours between 4 and 6, and it comes in the forms. And this transmission gives you the body and feeling of the mantis. There was a point where in my training where I felt that the spirit of the mantis was in me, that I had a feeling like I wanted to break my arms off, and that there were actually mantis tentacles. Now, of course, it could be, just a psychosomatic idea of what it is, but I believe that there is a spirit of the insect that is transmitted through the system, and it gives you the feeling of the characteristics of a mantis. And you start to move like that, and you start to understand those characteristics in your fighting, because you can do a movement in fighting where it's just a movement and just technique, and then there's a movement in the fighting that's inspired by the spirit of it, that gives it a different feeling. In my opinion, what martial arts have given to me, and especially the Southern Mantis system, is the ability to have humility, because I trained in martial arts for a long time, and I was very lucky that most of my teachers were very humble and very wise individuals. But when I was younger, I was a little bit cocky and loved to fight, and I never really understood what it meant to be able to not hurt someone and to really relish life and try to make people understand that there's more to life than violence and those things. So my Sifu, Robert Lee, is an incredible individual, very humble individual, and taught me a lot about humility. I'll give a quick story. He asked me once how my training was going, and I says, "Oh, Sifu, I'm feeling the chi. I'm very proud of myself. Yeah, I feel the chi." He says, "You know chi?" I said, "A little bit. I understand some concepts." He says, "Really?" He says, "Sit over here." So I sit down. He takes his hands and he goes like this to me. He goes, "Tell me what you feel." He goes like this. To my body, from the back and the front like this. And I'm sitting there. I'm saying, "I don't feel a damn thing." Like, what am I going to say now? Right? So I look at him. I says, "Well, I feel a little tingly." He says, "You don't know nothing. I did nothing. You don't know chi." It's like, oh. Right there. It's like my most important lesson on humility. I said, And every time I would, matter of fact, even me doing this show, he's not going to be too pleased with me anyway. I always hear his words saying, "Don't be cocky," and it just always reverberates in my mind. And he's right, because when you're skilled and you have knowledge and you know things, people will know. You don't need to advertise. You don't need to beat someone up. You don't need to show off. You need to help the society, help people. And that's really what I try to do in my teachings and in my training, to help people, help myself. I was a very introverted child, and I was, like I said, beaten up, and this helped. It helped me to be a person, a better person, and I try to be a better person. Try to be a good person, a better person, and learn from life, and enjoy people.